Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Meredith Phillips, and the time has come. We have finally received all of the beta reader feedback. This weekend is going to be all about organizing the feedback, evaluating the feedback, and making a plan to get started with draft 6. Oh my gosh, draft 6 of my Regency romance. We are also finally in February. January was about 83 years long, and it feels like I sent out the first section to these beta readers like absolutely like some sort of mega weeks ago. It's only been like 3 weeks. It hasn't even been that long. They finished faster than I was originally like making time for, and so but it feels like it's been forever because I really haven't had all that much to do. I've been doing a little bit of brainstorming for like the next project, but other than that, like, I don't know, I've felt very much at like loose ends. So I'm very excited to have this back and get started on this next draft. I have already done a little bit of organizing here in case you want to see how I set up my beta reading process. If you want templates to use, if you're looking for beta readers and you want some sort of starting point, I have a whole Google Drive folder with templates that you can download and alter according to however you like. There are also some videos from the last time I did beta readers, like a year and a half ago. I think there's 2 different ones about me organizing the feedback and how I like downloaded everything from the Google form and put it in a Word doc, and how I'm doing all the things. So if you want a very detailed explanation of what exactly I'm doing to organize all this, I'll link those videos below. I am so incredibly grateful for all of this feedback. Thank you so much to the beta readers who did this for me. I'm very grateful because this has been excellent feedback, and I'm really excited to get started on actually implementing some of it. I will say though, also real quick, if you if you did like the little like interest form where it was basically just like one question, and you never received the link to the actual Google Doc document with like all the information about the project and the beta reading and all that, check your spam folder, because I did get messages from a couple people who said they found it like way late in their spam folder. And so if you found it in your spam folder like weeks later or something, I am so sorry. I don't know why Google flagged that email as spam for so many people, but that sucks. I'm really sorry. I'll try to do something different next time. I don't know what I can do different, but we'll try to make sure it doesn't go to people's spam folders. I'm so sorry if that was you though. So let's get into it. I have already done a little bit of organizing here. If you're new or if you don't know, I collected feedback in 2 kind of separate ways for this round of beta reading. Of course, the beta readers had the actual manuscript and they could leave in-document comments there. And then at the end of each section, I had some questions for them to answer. And then I had a final feedback section that asked them to look at the book as a whole. So I have in-document comments to look through, and I have the written answers to the questions to look through. I have already gone ahead and downloaded the Google Docs with the in-doc comments and have combined them so that there's only one document with everybody's comments in it. So I've got that all ready to go. And I've also printed out all of their written feedback, which involved a lot of cut and paste and is kind of annoying and tedious, but we did it. It is 13 pages. I've stapled it, and this is so much better than the last time. So much more manageable than the last time. This is what I ended up with last time I did beta readers. I had 6 beta readers, and I had 50 pages of feedback to go through. Now, this is excellent feedback. I had great beta readers that first time. I am super grateful to them, but having not only 6 readers, but I also divided the book into 5 parts. So they had 5 question sections to go through, plus a 6th question section for a final feedback over the whole book. This time I only had 3 readers, and I divided the book into 3 pieces, 3 parts. So I have less just volume to deal with, which is so nice. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through their answers to these questions, and I'm going to highlight the pieces that stand out to me in terms of like, let's come back to this because this is something I need to implement. There is some feedback, of course, that I'm kind of like, I don't know what I want to do with this quite yet. Do I want to take their suggestion? Do I not want to take their suggestion? Do I want to twist their suggestion into something else? So most of the feedback I feel like is good. Like, I'm like, yep, I totally agree. You know, I'm going to definitely do this. There's a few pieces where I'm like, I'm not sure. And then of course, the classic conundrum that comes with beta reader feedback, if you have more than one beta reader, is the fact that you will get people saying the complete opposite thing. So I'll give you 2 examples that I found. Just like, I don't know what to do with this right now, but we'll figure it out. So there was one question at the very end where I was asking them to think about the book as a whole, and I asked about pacing. How do you think the pacing of the book was? And there was one beta reader who said, you know, the ending, like, quarter maybe was a little too fast paced. It felt like things were happening, like it got wrapped up like too quickly. Then I had another beta reader who was like, the last 20% of the book was perfect. So like, okay, I'll have to mess with that. I don't know. We'll see what I think to do. Do I stretch it out? Do I leave it as is? Don't know. And then the other one that I thought was hilarious. Okay. This was so, I was like, I agree, but I also don't know what to do. All right. So the first chapter of the book has stayed pretty much the same since about draft 2. Draft 2, I added a little bit to the earlier part of the chapter, and I introduced the book with some new opening lines. And when I wrote them for draft 2, I was like, meh. Do I like this opening? These, like, you know, the first sentence is so important, right? I was like, it's okay. I was like, it wasn't like my favorite first line I've ever written, but it wasn't like bad. So for draft 2, I was like, whatever, I can think up a new first line some other time later. Well, we went through draft 3, we went through draft 4, we went through draft 5. That first line has stayed the same through all of these drafts. Since draft 2, I've had critique partners. I've had my mentor read it. We did a first pages swap within the mentee group. So I've had a bunch of the other mentees read my opening pages. And then, of course, I've had the beta readers who have read the whole thing, including the opening pages. Unsolicited, I have had many people say, oh my gosh, I love this opening. These opening lines are so good. They're so fun, very engaging, blah, 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 blah. Like, lots of compliments. And I got to the point where it's like, oh, okay, like, everybody seems to like it. I kind of think it's meh, but I guess if a lot of people like it, I'll leave it. Then I had one beta reader who was like, I think this could be stronger. And I was like, thank you. I think it could be stronger too. But now I'm like, what do I do? I've had so many people say they like it, even though I don't really love it. And then I have one beta reader who agrees with me that it could be different. It could be better. Who knows? I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But anyway, I just thought that was hilarious. This whole time I've been like, really? You guys really think this is like a good opening? Okay. Like, Finally, I have somebody who was like, no, Meredith, I don't think this is the best way it could be. I was like, thank you. So anyway, we'll deal with that later. So that's going to be part 1, going through the written feedback, highlighting the pieces that I definitely agree with, highlighting the pieces that I kind of want to like think about a little more. I will say I have been looking at this sort of like as it's been coming in. I haven't like studied it necessarily, but I've been like glancing through the answers because I'm not going to wait until the very end. And I think overall, the general feedback is like the book as a whole is pretty solid. I didn't feel like anyone was saying like, oh my gosh, like this stretch of like 7 chapters was so boring, like cut this. Nobody was suggesting redoing the ending. Thank you, because I'm not going to. So like, I didn't feel like anyone was making like major, suggestions for major structural changes. Great. I feel like a lot of the feedback points more to like scene level kinds of stuff or character level kind of stuff, which I'm hoping will be relatively easy and quick to kind of go through and implement some of this feedback. So I don't think at this point that we're going to be doing any kind of major restructuring, thank God. And yeah, it'll be a little more, I don't want to say nitpicky, but just sort of smaller issues, right? So very glad on that. So let's get to highlighting. After that, I do want to go into the in-doc comments and we'll mess with those a little bit, but let's do some highlighting.
I have a doggo here who has come to help me. Hi, Bubby. Are you going to help me highlight? Do you have any feedback for me? You think it's perfect? Oh, what a good boy! Yeah.
Okay, highlighting is completed. The orange is stuff where I'm like, yep, absolutely agree. Definitely want to do something with this. The pink is like, not sure, come back to this later, question mark. I don't feel like there's anything in here where I'm just like, no, that is not it at all. You know, there's nothing I like feel really strongly defensive of or something, which I think is really good, honestly. Overall, I feel like most of this is pointing again to like smaller scene level stuff or a lot of character stuff. Like character motivations need to be a little more clear, especially like early in the book, and like character interiority and stuff like that, which, okay, like I can add that. So yeah, I feel really positive, I guess, like just, okay, it feels very manageable. That's the word I'm looking for. It feels very manageable at this point. So let me put this part aside. I'm going to pull up the document that has the in-doc comments, and I'm going to do my traditional delete everything. No, I'll do, what I like to do when I have in-document comments is I save the document as like the complete document with everything in it, and then I make a copy, and in the copy, I delete all of the positive comments, because when I go through it, I like seeing the positive comments, obviously, but generally speaking, there's nothing else to do with them other than not delete the thing that they're being positive about. I like to kind of clear those out of the way so they're not distracting and like cluttering up the document. The more you have to visually look at least for me, the more difficult it is to narrow in on the things that are like, change this. So I'm going to go through the whole thing and review those comments and pull out the ones that are like, oh, here's something to fix or look at or consider or whatever. One thing I will say about using Google Docs as the way to collect feedback like this, you can download the Google Doc as a Word doc, great, and then in Word you can combine the docs with all of the comments. So that's what I've done. The only annoying thing, maybe I'm doing this wrong, tell me if I'm doing this wrong, there are sections where some of the beta readers have been like, I don't think you need this paragraph, and they've actually deleted it like in the Google Doc, which is fine. But when you download it, it does not translate to like a track changes kind of situation. And so it gets like goofy within the document. It like doesn't quite download it correctly. Again, maybe I'm just downloading and combining things incorrectly. So those I'll go through, I think, later once I've implemented all of this feedback, and I'm going to use that on more of a line editing kind of pass. So, and I'll just go directly to the Google Doc for those. Where is the big document? Here it is. Okay, wait, I maybe need to do a little more organizing. I have them right now combined into the 3 separate parts, but I think I want just one giant Word doc with the whole manuscript. So let me do some cut and paste real quick and see if I can combine this so I don't have to flip between 3 different Word documents. All right, we've got everything compiled over here. This is going to take me a minute because there are, in fact, 330 full pages. So I'm just going to scroll through, get rid of the nice comments, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, I'm still working my way through this, but one thing that's so satisfying is seeing, I love when the beta readers react to like the same line or the same little chunk of text in the same way, it's just really satisfying because, you know, I've been working on this since the beginning of 2024, and some of these lines are things I wrote 6, 9, 12 months ago now, and it's like, well, I think it's funny, cute, whatever, and so to see them reacting like the way that I want a reader to react is super satisfying. Finally, after like 9 months, I know, okay, this is a good line. Also, there's one part where it is supposed to be like a little bit of a surprise reveal kind of situation, and me having written the book and been thinking about the book for a year now, like, it's not a surprise to me, obviously, like, I know it's coming, but it was a surprise to them, and they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, and I was like, yay, I forgot it was supposed to be a surprise. So anyway, yeah, fun. Let me keep going. Okay, I finished going through all of the comments. I didn't look to see how many in total there were when I started, but there's significantly less now. So any kind of like, any positive comment, emoji reaction in general, like those are gone. The ones that are left are ones where they're making some kind of suggestion or they're expressing confusion over something. I was not trying to evaluate, do I agree with this comment and want to implement the change they're suggesting? I wasn't trying to do that yet. I'm just leaving everything in there, and we'll get to actually deciding what I want to do about the comments later. But like I said earlier, I feel like I agree with the vast majority of what they are saying, both between the in-document stuff and the written feedback. So I don't feel like I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of like weighing one thing against another in general. We'll see. What am I gonna do now? I think last time, I should have rewatched my vlogs from 1.5 years ago, but I think what I did last time actually is I took the feedback, all of it, and I opened up the Scrivener document and did like a bullet point list of things to consider, fix, etc. Because one of the things, I don't know, is this just me? I don't know, but like there's just even though this isn't that much to go through, it's 13 pages and then comments in here, it still is kind of like it's in 2 places, and some of the comments and suggestions are the same thing. So if I go through this, I'm looking at the same suggestion sometimes more than once. I don't want that. I want to see like a consolidated list of here are the things I'm going to be fixing and looking at and whatever. I think what I'm going to do now is go through this feedback. I'm going to open up a blank Scrivener document and do like a bullet point list of things to fix, things to consider, all that kind of stuff. Then I'll just have that list to look at, and I won't have to be flipping through this. I won't have to be scrolling through the whole manuscript. It'll just be all in one place. Some of the suggestions on the in-document comments are like literally line level stuff where they're like, this line was awkward or clunky, or, you know, they're pointing out some little thing like that, which I'm not going to put that in a bullet point list. So yeah, I think I actually need to open my document. Ooh, you know what we get to do though? Hold on. It's no longer draft 5. It's going to be draft 6. Ooh, I'm so excited. Let me save this new as draft 6. All right, let me start going through this, and I still don't know at this point if I don't feel like I'm going to be making a whole lot of decisions on things. I'm just going to be consolidating the advice, and then we'll decide if I want to use it or not. So let's do this. Also, it's February, and now instead of just 15 minutes a day, I have to do 20 minutes a day of some sort of movement. Are you so proud of me? I did every day in January. Wait, this is super important. Let me show you. Every single day in January. Do you see it? I did it. I did it. So I'm very proud of myself. I hope you are too. Let's go ahead and move my legs a little bit while I work on this. All right, I've got my list, my bullet point list over here. I think what I'm going to do next is organize it a little bit into different categories. So like character issues, plot issues, and then maybe other. And there's not really a whole lot else besides character and plot stuff here, but I want to just sort of quickly separate it out like that. And then, man, I'm really excited because this feels so manageable. I don't feel like there's any kind of, again, huge change to the plot or something like that. Here's what my plan is. What I'd really like to do is get this round of editing, revisions, etc. finished by the end of February. That feels very doable. 4 weeks to get this done feels very doable. Again, I'm not planning to move huge chunks of text around or delete lots of things. I don't feel like there's going to be some sort of major rewrites involved in this. It'll be a little more about clarifying certain things, certain points, and fleshing things out a little bit more in certain areas. I feel like that's what most of this feedback is pointing to. There is one thing I think I need to do. Oh, and I'm so sad. But this was actually something one of my critique partners suggested way back in draft 2. And at the time I was like, no, I almost did it. And then I was like, no, I can't bear to do it. And it stayed the same. And I'm seeing the same kind of thing, not as often, but it is still cropping up. So here's the thing. My main male character, Christopher, I've said his name before. I don't know why I'm like, the MMC. Anyway, Christopher has a big group of friends. There's 4 guy friends, and they have a great group, and I love them immensely. But there are times where I can either see that people are getting the friends mixed up, or they're not remembering who is who. I think because there are just too many of them, and they're not like, they're in the book, but there are long stretches of the book where you don't see them, and so then by the time you see them again, you're like, wait, was this the one who was doing this before, or is this the one that was over here before? You know, you kind of just forget. One of my critique partners, again, months and months back, was like, I think you need to maybe reduce, like take one of them out. And I did think about it, and I was like, I think I can get rid of this one, but it's still painful. So I am seeing still confusion or just blatant suggestion of maybe like trim this up a little bit. I think Alexander is going to be on the chopping block, which means, I don't know, I'm going to have to retool scenes where he has dialogue. It's so weird though, because like I can't just give his dialogue to someone else because he's saying it the way Alexander would say it. Alexander's kind of like, he's making jokes and he's kind of lighthearted. I can't give that to Graham. Graham would never say those things. I can't give it to Silas. Silas is too grumpy to be jokey. Like, I don't know. So to me, he feels so integral to the group and he plays a certain role within that friend group. But I feel like I'm getting the same feedback again. And I do think I need to change it. I think I just need to bite the bullet and take him out. I'm very sad. I just don't think I don't know. I haven't decided for sure yet. But if I do cut one of the friends out, it's definitely going to be Alexander. Because I feel like he's the least developed of all of them. I'm not touching Evan. He's the little cinnamon roll boy. We love him. Yeah, I think it might be Alexander. Anyway, it's almost lunchtime. Let me get some lunch together, feed my brain a little bit, and then we'll come back to this.
Now listen, the bread got a little more toasty than I was anticipating, but this is what I don't have much food in the house right now. I have to go to the grocery store later today. So it's egg salad on a sandwich.
Okay, lunch is done. I changed over the laundry, super exciting, and I let Nahan out into the backyard. Now we will see how he does. Okay, remember all the way back in June or July? When did the hurricane come through? I don't even remember. June or July. There was a tree that fell and crunched the fence between our house and our neighbor's house. And it's technically like her fence. So she's finally gotten to like have it repaired. And so we're getting a nice new fence on that side of the house. And the workers were out there yesterday and they're back today, I think just to finish it up. It looks pretty done to me. Nahan is going to go absolutely nuts if he sees any of the workers out there. So I think they're now like on a different section where he won't be able to see them, but I'll have to be listening out. It's really nice outside though, so I hope that he can hold it together. He doesn't need to bark at everyone. We'll see. But it's nice out there, so I hope it's nice to have them, you know, have time to run around or whatever. Anyway, let me get back to this. I've gotten it separated out into character, plot, and then other. There were just like a few sort of random things to think about that didn't really connect to character or plot necessarily. So let me, I don't know, do I just jump into fixing stuff? I feel like, okay, I think I am going to take Alexander out. Poor Alexander. That to me is actually the biggest change because I'm going to have to redo scenes he's in. His parents make an appearance, so they're going to have to be somebody else's parents now. I think actually, let me mess with looking at that first because I'm going to have to redo, I think, yeah, I'll have to redo dialogue and stuff. He has some good dialogue, but nobody else would say that kind of thing. All right. Let me get into this, I guess. We're just going to go for it. Plans? Who needs to make a plan for the draft? I'm just going to start changing things. Let's go, I guess. I just want you to know that it is physically hurting me to delete some of this dialogue because this dialogue doesn't fit. Like, Alexander's the one making jokes and poking fun a little bit and, like, doing that kind of thing. Evan's not doing that. Graham is definitely not doing that. Silas would never. Like, nobody else can have these lines. So I'm having to just delete them. It's painful. I'm doing it. Breaking news, and this is actually good news for a change. It is 3 o'clock. I was going to keep working on this for a little while longer. However, I was commiserating with a friend on Instagram DMs back and forth because I was like, I have to delete Alexander. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's probably a good call. And then we were chatting more. And then she was like, can I send you the first chapter of this book you've been wanting to read from me for like the last many months since you read the end of the last book? And I was like, do you even have to ask? Obviously, yes. So she's sending it imminently, and I'm going to drop everything in my entire life to read it. But then I have some other things I need to do. I need to go to the grocery store tonight, and I don't have a grocery list yet. So we got to get that taken care of. What else? Oh, I have like a list of things I need to do. It's fine. But it's all like boring stuff. It's like, pay this bill, and stuff like this. Update your credit card because it expired and they have a new one, you know? So anyway, I've got stuff like that to do. I'm working through this deletion of the character. Actually, fairly quickly, there have been some painful lines that I've had to just delete because they don't fit the other characters. He is a side character, so it's not like he's in every scene or something, but it is still painful because I did like a lot of these lines a lot. I liked a lot of these lines a lot. All right, so anyway, let me cut this off for today. I will definitely be back tomorrow, and we'll keep working through either deleting Alexander from this novel or moving on to something else. I don't know. I feel like I need to look over the notes and make a little more of a plan. I feel like I'm just diving in and I don't have a plan. That's not like me at all. But again, I'm not like restructuring some major component of the story. I feel like so much of the feedback is very much centered on like add a little bit here, add a little bit here, add a little bit here kind of stuff. So anyway, we'll get into all that tomorrow. But happy February, and I'll see you then. I promise one of these weeks you will actually get like a full weekend writing vlog, but it is not to be this weekend apparently. It is currently about 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. Haven't touched the computer all day. Long story short, the husband made some questionable choices which resulted in injuries. And he's at the hospital currently. He's going to be fine. However, at the moment, the doctors and surgeons are waffling between like, do you just need like some braces, like a back brace, a neck brace, and we'll wait a couple weeks to see if things heal up on their own, or do we actually need to go in and do surgery? So obviously we're hoping that they go with the back brace option, and hopefully that'll fix things up. But at the moment, we're not really sure where we're going, when he'll be discharged, any of that stuff. Obviously there'll be some sort of recovery period. Don't know how long that's supposed to be. So a lot of questions at the moment. We were at the ER last night. They fixed him up to some extent at the ER and then admitted him to the hospital. I came home. I got back at like 10, I guess, last night, which wasn't too late. But like the dogs hadn't eaten. Jade needed her medicine. This morning I had to go back to the grocery store because I hadn't finished my shop from yesterday evening. And then I went back to the hospital to be like, hey, what's going on over here? So it's a very nice hospital. Oh my gosh. Although hilariously, there was like, I walked in the main entrance. It was labeled main hospital entrance. Nobody there. Like, I know it's the weekend, so, you know, maybe it wouldn't be staffed as much. Absolutely no one. Do you want to steal some chairs? They're right there in the lobby. Just go grab them. Do you want to bring literally anything through those doors? Go for it. I was really surprised. But anyway, so yeah, I was over there for a couple hours. He has had every possible scan imaginable. MRI, CT, EKG, X-rays. So anyway, we're doing great. So I am tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. And of course, I woke up at like 5:45 for no discernible reason. I am going to probably just spend some time editing this vlog and doing something relatively mindless. I'm not going to try to touch any writing stuff for the rest of the day. And yeah, I don't know. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I need to get something for lunch. So anyway, sorry this one didn't quite end up being like the normal writing vlog in the end. I think you got a good chunk from yesterday, but hopefully next week we'll be back with a full weekend of content for you. For now though, if you liked at least the first part of this video, give it a thumbs up. Wait, I'm editing the vlog and I just thought to do this because I literally never do this, but if you made it to the end of the video, I feel like this is so appropriate though. If you made it to the end of the video, leave me a medical related emoji. And everyone who didn't make it to the end of the video would be like, what did this vlog have to do with anything doctors or medical related? Have a good time. And if you haven't yet, you can click the subscribe button. I post videos on Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.